Radio Rahim here with Virgil Hunter. You know, we're here getting Angulo his last shots of training before Saturday night. He's going to face Erislandy Lara. And I spoke to Erislandy earlier, and he seems to think that this fight is going to boil down to a cat and mouse race. He's going to try to avoid the confrontation and score and win on the cards, whereas everyone knows that Angulo has a heavy shot and could knock Landy out if he's able to catch him. Is that how you see the fight?
We prepared for a fight that could go any type of way. I really can't pay attention to what Lara says and get sucked into what is perceived, as a fight that would go that way. It can go many different ways. So Alfredo's just prepared to fight and prepared to confront anything he needs to confront in that ring. Personally, I think Lara would try to knock him out. So we're not gonna get lulled to sleep in him describing how he feels the fight. We're coming to fight.
Now, I also obviously just talked to Angulo, and what's interesting is he was on the tail end right before he had the issue with detention. He had a tough loss against Kirkland, and he had to recuperate, and he came to you for that on the second end of his career. He's had tremendous success since. What have you added, subtracted? How have you changed his game to make him a better fighter?
Well, just giving him a chance to get in condition. I mean, where he was at the duration of time that he was there and the circumstances that he was subjected to, you have to start one step at a time, and that first step was conditioning his body to get his body conditioned back to the level of fighting that he was doing. So nothing's really been added to him, just some subtle things, because conditioning was such a factor. So I think the conditioning is where it is and where it needs to be. And after this, I think just fighting itself will, when he comes out victorious, will implement some things that we've been working on. So conditioning was first and foremost matter to get him in great shape.
Now, after everyone's recognized your success with Andre Ward, the style in which you train, the connection that you had with him, they say boxing is a science. Well, more so than any other trainer, really, you kind of display the demeanor and approach of a scientist. So, speaking to your stable as a whole, what is your approach to boxing that has garnered you the kind of success you've had thus far?
Well, I think the young men that I have right now, most of them have come off a setback. And I think that's pretty interesting, that they have enough confidence in me to resurrect sort of their career and bring it back into stride. And I'm doing my utmost to do that. But I also know that at this stage in a lot of the guys' careers that even my philosophy will not come to fruition because, they've been fighting so long. So I'm the one that has had to adapt to certain things and certain realizations that what I believe in, I have to start that person out from the beginning. And by not having that opportunity with some of the guys that I have, we can get as much scientific technique in their game as possible, but we don't want to change who they are also. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge that I look forward to. It's a challenge that I'm confident about, and just going to continue to work hard, embrace the young men that's in my care, and see if we can get them back on the path of victory.
You mentioned that a lot of the guys that are coming to you needing a comeback, needing to realign their boxing skills and enter this theory from a different direction. One of the biggest names, if not the biggest, that has approached you in that way has been Amir Khan. His last fight with Julio Diaz, some are critical of, even though it was a win. I'm sure you've heard that criticism. What do you think of his performance in that fight?
I thought he made some sound mental decisions in that fight. I thought he showed some growth during times that, he had some difficulties, when he was knocked down. And then again, I believe it was in the 11th round. He might have got hurt by a couple of punches. I think he made some sound decisions. So, his career is still ahead of him. He understands what we need to do. We need to spend more time together and everything to bring him up to par, correct some of his flaws. And if we're able to do that, then the sky's the limit for him.
Now, a guy who's tasted the canvas like Amir Khan has, who also has the talent that no one can deny, the question becomes, can you train a chin? Is that something that you can actually give a fighter the ability to stand up under a tough shot? Where do you come down on that debate?
Well, I mean, I've seen Amir go down, but I also see Amir go up, can get back up. And, I think some of the decisions he's made after he's got back up had not been sound decisions. I mean, they say Danny Garcia's a tough puncher, but Amir got up from that punch and finished the round and started the second round. Prescott hit him right on the money. He got up from that punch, but he didn't make too good of decisions after he got back up and give himself enough time to clear his head. In the Diaz fight, he made some sound decisions. So Amir has great recuperative powers. I don't pay too much attention to what the critics say. It's part of boxing. It's like I said early on, we could see some of what people think is the greatest chance, but when they get hit and go down, they don't get up. Manny didn't get up. So I would rather take a guy that, when he gets knocked down, he can get up, because I can teach him how to survive once he gets up, as opposed to maybe a guy who gets knocked down and can't get back up.
With Amir Khan, as you said, having been knocked down, obviously knocked out by Garcia, he had even been wobbled by Molina, down with Diaz. What do you think moving to 147 will do in his favor, considering obviously the punches are going to be heavier there?
Well, I think one thing you have to take into account is every fight that has been stopped by him, he's been on his feet, with the exception of the one Prescott fight where he went right back in and took a hellacious punch. But all the exceptions, he took some hellacious punches from Madonna, he didn't go down. Took punches from Peterson, he didn't go down. Even in the Garcia fight, supposed to be a big puncher, he kept getting back up. So again, who knows, 147 might be a good weight for him. Time will tell. We can build him correctly into that weight. Time will tell. But you can only, deal with it when that time arises. But I got the utmost confidence in him, and I believe that if he would commit to camps in between fights, that he's going to improve. And regardless of what they might say about this kid, he's got a 50-50 chance every time he's stepping there with you to whip you too. So he's not an easy out.
And lastly, Virgil, he's going to 147, and the rumors are all that he's going there to chase Floyd Mayweather. That doesn't seem such a far-fetched theory. If that is in fact the case, or if he were even offered that fight, what do you think his weapons would be? Have you seen anything in Floyd's arsenal, anything in Floyd's game that you could expose with a fighter like Amir Khan?
Well, you know what? When you talk about Floyd Mayweather, I will not look at Floyd Mayweather's flaws or his upcomings or his shortcomings in that fight. I would pay attention to my fighter in that particular fight, because Floyd has proven himself, and he's proven himself time and time again. So my approach in that fight would not to pay too much attention to what Floyd does, but pay attention and have my fighter ready.